What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Full Court Talk podcast. We got podcast number 40 today.
40, big 40.
We're getting up there.
Yep.
Um, but before we get started, I want to say rest in peace to Antron Pippen, man. That was a tough thing to wake up to. It's
Yeah.
I can't imagine losing your kid ever.
hmm
So,
Yeah.
man, rest in peace to him.
Yeah.
Um, but another sad news for our first topic: LaMarcus Aldridge retires from the NBA. He
Yeah.
was dealing with heart issues on the court,
hmm
and he felt it was best to retire,
Yeah.
which I don't blame him for. But the question we're going to ask is he a Hall of Famer? Um, the second one, or the second topic, would you feel safe going back to an NBA game in person? That's going to be interesting as the Warriors finally open back up.
Yeah.
Third topic, should the NBA be to blame for a condensed season? Should they be concerned going forward? There have been a ton of injuries. I actually made a list of all the current injuries, so that's going to be fun to get into.
Yeah.
Topic four, Jamal Murray is out. He tore his ACL, I believe, and he is out for the season. Where does this leave the Nuggets? Topic five, pretty exciting. Dwyane Wade buys a minority ownership stake in the Utah Jazz, something to report on. And the last topic, kind of piggybacking off the fourth topic, or the third topic, sorry.
hmm
Should the NBA still run a play-in tournament even with all the injuries piling up? So for the first topic, so LaMarcus Aldridge retires, like I said. He's dealing with a lot of heart issues,
hmm
and he and his family felt that it was best for him to retire. And I feel so bad for him because this is his best chance to get a ring.
Oh, yeah.
Um, and obviously that's why he picked the Nets to win.
hmm
And the Nets looked like they were one of the favorites to go into the playoffs. Um, I hope he's okay, and from what it sounds like he's okay, and he's going to be healthy. But I hope he stays that way. I
Yep.
mean, what a hell of a career! Averaging 19 points a game, 49% for the field, 8 rebounds and a block. And honestly, one of the most frightening players to go against. One of the most deadly mid-range games. Great post game, good defender.
Yeah.
But before I answer, but do you think he's a Hall of Famer?
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Yeah,
I agree.
yeah,
Like, so before you can answer, I just want to say, like, I think he's a Hall of Famer because I don't want to piggyback off of other careers that of people that are gone into the Hall of Fame, but he's more better than some of the people that have gone in for way less. And so, like with what LaMarcus Aldridge did for the Blazers, considering their draft curses throughout the years, I think that alone just solidifies his career to be accepted into the Hall of Fame. So yes, I do think he's a Hall of Famer.
yeah. I totally agree. I think no matter what situation you're in, I think he's gonna make it no matter what.
Yeah.
I hope that if the Nets win, that they still give him a ring and give him that chance
Mhm.
because even though he played just like 4 or 5 games for them, I think he still
Yeah.
deserves it after the career he's
Yeah.
had. Um,
Yeah.
but like I said, like he was one of the most automatic mid ranges I've ever seen. He was almost like a three-level scorer without the three. Um,
Yeah.
he was just a phenomenal player. And it sucks to see someone go down like this so early in their career. Not maybe not early in his career, but only being 34, 35 with a lot more to give, I feel like,
Yeah.
it's tough, but I'm glad he's doing what's best for him and not
hmm
like just pushing it till he either dies on the court or just something
Yeah.
bad happens, It's better to get
Yeah.
ahead of that stuff early, especially with your heart.
Oh yeah. Definitely. Like when it comes to mind, what comes to mind when thinking about what happened with him is Jeff Green. Who's
Yeah.
coincidentally his teammate. Suffered from the same thing. Maybe not the exact same thing, but in terms of situations, like it was similar. And Jeff Green was able to put his career on hold, but he was also able to return. But that also plays because he's a bit younger than Aldridge,
Yeah.
so age has definitely something to do with it. And so, like, yeah, like respect to him for doing what's best for him and his family, because at the end of the day, especially during these times, your health is the most important thing. And so, like, I do hope that the Blazers retire his number. That 12 shouldn't be
Yeah.
touched. And like, unfortunately, like, not to bash on like Blazers fans, but they were robbed of a trio that could have been like, crazy in terms of NBA history, with Greg Oden and Dame and him. You know what I mean? And so, like,
Even Brandon Roy.
and Brandon Roy too, and like
Yeah.
it just sucks because Blazers haven't had the best luck, but Aldridge and Dame are prime examples that they can go against their bad luck. But yeah, like just on that alone, I think personally Aldridge should have just stayed with the Blazers. I don't think he should have gone to the Spurs.
Yeah.
I think the Spurs are just out to get him to replace Tim Duncan,
Yeah.
who was on his way out. But situations are everything. But yeah, at the end of the day, like Aldridge was a scary player to go against, like you said. Like that mid range is automatic for a big
Yeah.
man. He was mobile, he could shoot. Like he was part of that breed of big man that was stretching out past the paint. And so, like, hell of a career for him. It just sucks that it had to end this way. I do believe that the Nets have the best chance to win the championship. I think they're the absolute favorite. Not even my Lakers, to be honest. And like, it just sucks because I know he wants to compete and be out there. But yeah, just respect to him for doing what's best for his family.
Yeah, and I mean it's tough because now it leaves a pretty big hole for the Nets.
Oh yeah, definitely.
DeAndre Jordan is not what he used to be. KD continues to get injured, so it's going to be interesting going forward and see how that team responds to all this.
Yeah.
But the second topic, would you feel safe going back to an NBA game?
To tell you the truth, I definitely would. I would. It's just because of the way arenas are preparing. Because I mean, let's be honest, bro. Like players want people back there,
Yeah,
and so they're gonna do absolutely what they can to make that happen. And like some states are doing it at a slower rate over others, but at the same time, I would definitely feel safe going because um, if I feel safe moving going to the movie theaters, like for example, I just recently watched Kong versus Godzilla. When you buy a ticket, it automatically blocks out like the area that's you didn't purchase just for social distancing. And I feel like that alone is already secure in its own right. But I feel like in arenas like, for example, Chase, like they're definitely going to be a step ahead. It's going to be
yeah,
elevated. So I think I would definitely feel safe. I know like it would suck, like oh you would have to keep your mask on the whole time unless you're eating or drinking. But this is what we want. We want to be able to see the players live again. So at the end of the day, I would definitely feel safe going to an NBA game.
yeah, and I agree. Like I'm fully vaccinated, so I feel a little safer doing it.
Hmm.
But I mean, I've never been able to go to even see Chase Center in person, so to be able to go
Same
do
here.
that, I think that'd be awesome. Uh,
Yeah.
and I haven't seen the Warriors play since January 2020, and that
Yeah.
was against the Kings in Sacramento.
Hmm.
So I haven't been to a Warriors game at home in a long time. So
Yeah.
I think that'd be cool to see. Um, and I think going to a game with less people around me would even be better.
Oh yeah.
Because I was a season ticket holder, like I said before, for a while.
Yeah.
And when the Warriors became a dynasty, the
Hmm.
fans became rich people that just talked about anything but the game.
Yeah.
Uh, and I remember this one time I was at the game, and so like two fans were in front of me, and they were talking, and they were like, "Oh my God, LeBron looks so good tonight," and the Warriors are playing the Bulls. So
Yeah.
it tells you like the fans were not really fans. So
Hmm.
I'm excited to just be there and live my own little bubble. That'd be cool. But
Yeah.
hopefully it's not too expensive because that's the only thing I
Hmm.
feel like it's gonna be, especially
Yeah.
Chase Center.
Exactly. That's the only downside on. Like if you think about it, like yeah, it'd be safer. You would feel safe, but compared to before, I feel like tickets might even rival like playoff, like first round
Oh
tickets.
yeah,
So yeah, that's just the only thing.
yeah. Hopefully they're reasonably priced, but I mean,
Yeah.
at least the Warriors aren't great. If the Warriors were great, it'd be like $500, $600 a ticket, and I can't afford that at all.
Same. Same.
But we'll see.
Yeah.
But for the next topic, should the NBA be to blame for a condensed season? Should they be concerned going forward? So I'm gonna read a amount or like a list of injuries that I've just compiled recently.
Yeah.
So DeAndre Hunter, Robert Williams, Kevin Durant, multiple injuries. James Harden, Spencer Dinwiddie, LaMelo Ball, Monty Morris, Jamal Murray, Klay Thompson, James Wiseman, Eric Gordon, T.J. Warren, Serge Ibaka, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Jaren Jackson, Malik Beasley, Mitchell Robinson, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Markel Fultz, Jonathan Isaac, and Thomas Bryant.
That's just to name a few.
That's not even the
Honestly,
entire list. Jimmy
exactly.
Butler was out for a long time. There
Yeah,
are a ton of players out for a long time.
yeah,
These are all like the serious injuries that have happened
yep,
this. And
yeah,
obviously not all of them are due to a condensed season. Like
yeah,
LaMelo Ball, I wouldn't count him. James Wiseman, I would because he
yeah.
didn't get the extra time in the summer league and all that. Um, but that's a lot of injuries, and
It
that's
is.
I I want to say that's more than usual, but I didn't go and check back to last season.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it's not a great look. It really comes down to a quick turnaround, and if you look at a lot of those players, I would say a majority were playing in the Orlando bubble last season. Um, and that's definitely a concern because they turned it around too quickly this season, and they're going to have to do the same thing next season because you get like 3 or 4 months, and then you're going to be back into playing again.
Yeah,
And I know the NBA wants to get on track and they want to have this full season, but
yeah,
are they going to risk player safety to do so? It kind of seems like it.
yeah,
Um, and then on top of that, not allowing players to rest when they're on prime TV. When you're a team like the Hornets, you can rest whenever you want almost because you're not going to have primetime games. But if you're the
yeah.
Lakers, you're never going to have time to rest. So
Mm-hmm.
it's tough because the NBA really is forcing players to play when they're not going to be healthy to do so. Obviously,
Yeah,
LeBron's injury was a freak accident. Most ankle injuries are, but Anthony Davis's sounds like a stressful one.
yeah,
Um, Look at Serge Ibaka with back problems. Uh, Kevin Durant looks like just wasn't ready to return.
yeah,
James Harden's dealing with multiple injuries. I think right now he's dealing with a hamstring. Hamstring seems to be the most common one.
yeah,
Um, and those are nothing to joke about. Those are very serious at times.
mm-hmm.
Um, and I think the NBA should be to blame. They put the season before the players, and you can't do
Yeah,
that. And I
mm-hmm.
understand that they wanted to start on time and be finished on time to get the next season started, the 2022 season. But it's tough. Uh, I think
Yeah,
forcing their hand and forcing them to play just wasn't smart. And they're paying the price. The players are at least, not even the teams itself. But what do you think?
to be honest, I do think the NBA is the one to blame. I mean, if we think about it, they're the ones that have gone out of their way to schedule the turnaround so fast. It's not even like for other people, like for other teams, Miami and the Lakers, like you could see like Miami, they dealt with more injuries than the Lakers did, and they had to play catch up in order to be in top five of the East again. But not every team can do something like that. But yeah, like long story short, the NBA is definitely the one to blame because they're putting money on the line over players' health, and we're seeing it in real time. Like you said, James Wiseman with the knee injury, the guy hasn't even played double-digit games. If you put it all together, like college, like experience-wise, obviously he's played double-digit games, like college, NBA. Like you can't even say like he's had like a full season anywhere,
Yeah,
and that takes a toll on your whole body because even though players aren't practicing as they were, like being shipped off to game time and game level speed is completely different. Every basketball player can tell you that, practice, actual game, they're all different. But,
yeah,
you know, that's not even considering the fact that they do weights on their own, shoot arounds on their own, drills, workouts, all that stuff. And so at the end of the day, like they should prioritize players' health because if, for example, like a primetime game, like you said, even teams that aren't as doing as good, for example, the Hawks, right? You put Trey Young and Clint Capella, all those guys. And if they're on primetime TV and they can't deliver, then no one's gonna want to watch it at the end of the
yeah,
day, right? And so like they got to keep that into consideration. But I think it's not going to be something that they'll deal with unless somebody as big as LeBron probably speaks up on it. You know what I mean? Because like you said, like his accident was a freak accident. It wasn't due to the season, but if you think about it, like I don't know about other teams, but the Lakers always have a list of players that are probable.
yeah,
Like they could take the day off. Maybe that's the shortcut to it because if you could say that somebody's probable, they'll either play or not, depending on how it is. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's just the NBA's fault, man. Like they're trying to make money over prioritizing players' health, and it's kind of crazy because you can't make money if there's no players to do it,
Yeah.
right? So hopefully for next season, they can do something about that. Maybe talk to the players, maybe give them more days off or something, or even just postpone the season for a later time. Because right now, like things are obviously with the vaccines and everybody being safe, things are rushing out
Yeah.
to, everyone wants life to be back to normal, but you can't do that. You can't adapt to it so fast. So hopefully, because we don't want to see injuries, man. Like it's bad
Yeah.
for the league. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm hoping they do something about it just because, like, a lot of the rookies you can tell just weren't ready. Summer
Yeah.
league would have done wonders for a lot of these guys,
Hmm.
especially preseason. And a lot of these teams aren't even able to practice.
Yeah.
And if they are, they're light practices, so you're not even getting used to anything.
Nope.
Um, so it's tough. I can't imagine being an NBA player in these times because it would be extremely frustrating to have no time. Your only time to get better are these game times, pretty much.
Yeah.
So
You got to learn on the fly.
yeah, that's probably why Kelly Oubre was struggling a lot,
Yeah.
and especially like LaMelo Ball, like how he was able to almost seamlessly fit in,
Yeah.
just makes his rookie season even more amazing.
Hmm.
Um, but going on to another injury, but this one was a pretty big injury. Jamal Murray
Yeah.
is out for the season. Where does this leave the Nuggets?
Man, you know what? First of all, I mean, I don't want to blame Mike Malone or the Nuggets, but he shouldn't have been out there.
Yeah,
Like I get it that they're trying to win. A minute left, down what, 7? I mean, just give it to the Warriors, bro. Like it's one win, and I think they rushed Jamal Murray back.
it
Like
sounded
maybe
like
that maybe that's not the case, but he's been dealing with a lot of knee injuries lately.
yeah,
Like he's been dealing with a bruised knee, sore knee, and like I mean I get it. Maybe he wanted to hoop. Maybe he wanted to wave him off like, hey, let me come back. But like his return was rushed because like I have him on fantasy, so obviously I'm updated with this. And then like the day like a couple days before, they're like, oh, Jamal Murray's out with the bruised knee. So I'm just like, oh, okay, like I won't start him. And like days later, oh, Jamal Murray's available. I'm like, dude, like he just had a bruised knee, like already. And so like he shouldn't have been out there. He shouldn't have been out
yeah,
there. Um, it wasn't even that bad. If you watch the clip or if you're watching it in real time, he made a simple drive and his knee just gave out on him.
yeah,
And that's fatigue, that's stress. That's pretty much what the season does to you. I mean, I know the Nuggets didn't get far aside from the Western Conference Finals. They didn't get as far as the Lakers, obviously, but that's still pretty far. And so like the stress of the turnaround, playing as much games, it just took a toll on his body. And unfortunately, it was the result was a torn ACL. But in terms of where it leaves the Nuggets, obviously Jokic is my MVP pick. I feel like you feel the same way,
yeah,
especially with Donovan Mitchell, being injured at the moment. But I think Jokic can lead them. He has to now.
yeah,
They have the pieces. Will Barton is no Jamal Murray, but the Nuggets are still a top 5 team even without Jamal Murray. Because if you think about it, he was going crazy in the bubble. He hasn't really translated to that this season.
yeah.
It's just his presence, obviously. But I think, would you look at the time, Spence? I think it's ball time.
He can play
it,
point.
they might just give him some minutes, man. You know what I mean? Because he's a
Yeah,
talented player too. I mean, next man up mentality. You know what I mean? So I definitely think the Nuggets are still a top 5 team at the end of the day, especially with getting Aaron Gordon. Just a tough blow. Tough blow because that's Jokic is known as a joker, but Murray was his Robin. You know what I
yeah.
mean? So yeah, at the end of the day, still a top 5 team. It's just gonna be hard for them moving forward.
Yeah, I think it's definitely tough for them because you lose such an offensive, like he's such an important part of their offense.
Oh yeah,
Um, Jokic and him are phenomenal together. And adding Aaron
yeah,
Gordon into that mix is just makes it even better. Um, but I mean, going forward, Gordon is your second option, and
hmm,
he's played well. He's played efficiently, but he
yeah,
hasn't played well thus far.
hmm,
Um,
yeah,
so going forward, I'm not sure what you could do on the offensive end, but defensively, it could be a help because Jamal Murray wasn't great on
Yep.
defense.
Yeah.
Um, but I think that they're just gonna run out of fuel towards the end in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Jamal Murray was so damn good in the playoffs, and he was essentially
Oh yeah.
the reason they were in those situations.
Yeah.
Um, so to lose him so late in the season, and now thrusting Gordon into a role that he's almost never been in, being the second option,
Yeah.
and honestly, even thrusting Jokic into an option where he's never been,
Yeah.
that's going to be tough. Uh, and man, coming off one of the best playoff runs we've seen in NBA history to
Hmm.
having your season cut short by injury, that's gotta suck. And I would be extremely scared if I'm the Nuggets right now because if and when they make the playoffs, that's going to be tough to deal with. If you have to deal with, say, the Lakers, the
Yeah.
Clippers, any of the top teams in the NBA, you're going to struggle against them because a lot of those teams struggle with guard play, and that was
Yeah.
your guard. But hopefully, Bobo can come out, man. I'm hoping Bobo plays because he's a good
Yeah.
player.
He is, and like you know what? Quietly, Michael Porter Jr. has been averaging career numbers. Like he's been
Dude,
doing
a
really good.
sniper.
He is a sniper, so they're gonna rely on him even more now. And you know what? I think he's ready for it because he wants to be that guy. Remember last year
Yeah,
when he had that interview? That he wanted, asking about the offense, running through Jokic and Murray. So now he gets his chance. So hopefully he steps up to the plate, performs.
I
Yeah.
honestly forgot about him. He'll probably be the second option. Um,
Yeah.
but I mean, like, he's such a good player. I think
Yeah.
they got him for a steal at like the 16th pick, so
Yep.
it was worth it to keep working with him. Hopefully, he has his
Yeah.
mind in the right place and
Hmm.
just continues to hoop.
Yeah.
Um, so maybe they'll deal with it. Maybe they can get to maybe they get past the Warriors. Probably not, but they're not going to. This stuff is just too good, you know. Um,
Yeah.
but Dwayne Wade buys an ownership stake in the Utah Jazz. This is just something we don't really have to talk about as much, just kind of reporting on it. But I
Yeah.
think this is a great move for the Jazz. You get a legend in Dwayne Wade. And I think it's cool because Donovan Mitchell is commonly referred to as the successor of Dwayne Wade, being very similar size and pretty similar play style and athleticism. I
Exactly.
like it. I think it's pretty cool. And I'm glad they made the move. It's a no-brainer. He makes a lot of money. You need a lot of money.
Yeah.
Might as well do that. But what do you think?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, obviously it's very good for the Jazz organization. Unfortunately, the Utah Jazz have, a track record of not being so friendly.
Yeah.
So, hopefully, getting Dwayne Wade is a sign of things to come moving forward. I know that they were, I mean, earlier in the season when we would watch the games, you would see that there were already fans there. So they were one of the
Yeah.
first few teams to have fans. And so that's just that's just a testament to the state and the organization and how they value everything. So hopefully, things get better. But I do want to highlight something that I saw on Twitter about a former Miami Heat owner that kind of called Dwayne Wade out. He tried to congratulate him and said that basically what he said in the tweet. I don't have it with me right here, but what he said was when Dwayne Wade retired, he offered him a share of Miami if he wanted to buy into it. But D Wade didn't want to take it because he said that he just wasn't ready or something like that. And then like he just goes on a little like Twitter rant and then ends it with, "But I still want to congratulate him for making that decision." So hopefully I can find it. I'll send it to Spence. But yeah, it's just I thought that was kind of he sounds salty. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I mean I get it. Miami, that's D Wade's team. Became a legend there, obviously. But it's just be happy for the guy. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
like I just think that it's a no brainer. Like you said, Utah Jazz, you can get somebody like D Wade, you go all in. So
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
Hmm.
kind of weird. I mean, I get it. It's Miami, so like
Yeah.
that's literally where Dwayne Wade grew up. But
Yeah.
kind of weird you'd bring that up because he's been
Yeah.
retired for a couple of years now, so it's
Hmm.
understandable why he'd change his mind. Anyways,
Yeah.
but should the NBA still run the play-in tournament with even with all the injuries piling up? What do you think?
Man, you know what? They started it. They might as well end it.
Yeah.
I think they should. I mean, I'm not trying to go against players and what they want and how they want them to be healthy, but NBA players and teams came into the season thinking that, okay, you know what? If we don't get it that far, at least we'll have a chance to make it. So you can't just change and go back on your word, halfway through the season because of something that you saw. You have to stick with it. So I think at the end of the day, they should stick with the play-in tournaments. It's only fair for the teams, and you know what I mean. I know they say like if you want to get a good position in the playoffs, you want to make the playoffs, you have to win. But not every team is successful like that. So I think they should just continue to do it. Have to.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think they should have before the season. I think they should have just canceled it because
Yeah.
that's a lot of burn to put on a team before they go into the playoff series.
Mm-hmm.
It's obviously too late, but for the record, I love the idea of the play-in tournament. I think it's
Oh
cool.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
much different. Adds a little bit of like a mix into the team's plan. Um, I just don't think it was smart on a shortened season to add this. Just because look at the Lakers. If for some reason they fall into the play-in tournament, that's a huge
Yep.
blow to them. That's another game, another game or two that
Mm-hmm.
they'd have to play to get into the playoffs. Even the Heat
Yes.
sitting at that sixth spot, really on the edge of getting into the play-in tournament. That's tough. Um, Even the back-to-back games are questionable. I'm
Oh
not sure
yeah.
why you'd have back-to-back games on a shortened season.
Mm-hmm.
It comes back to not caring about maybe not caring, but not aware of the player safety. I didn't like
Yeah.
that. But it's a bad look on the NBA for pushing the season over the player safety.
Yeah.
But the play-in tournament, like I said, like it's a cool idea. And I think if you're the 10 or ninth seed, uh, and you make it into the playoffs, you're still eligible for the lottery. So that's an even better thing. So I think that's pretty cool. It's just
Mm-hmm.
not a smart way to do it this season.
Yeah.
But
I agree.
we'll see what happens. I'm excited for the end of the season. The Warriors are
Yeah.
looking better, even though they lost the other night. Steph Curry is in MVP mode, so
Human Torch mode. Yeah. Get that man some help.
47 in the L. He's feeling like Bradley Beal,
Yeah.
right? Man. But that's gonna do it for us for our 40th podcast.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for being here, and thank you for CJ for coming back.
Of course. Thanks for having me,
Always
man. Of
fun,
course.
man. But
Yeah.
check our social media down in the description below. I have a link to
Yeah.
my website. Go check it out. But that's gonna do it for us.
Peace.